It's blind taste testing time again, and this is the second set of bitters that I will be blind taste testing, ranking, and attempting to guess which beer is which. Bring on the beers. As always, the missus has poured and blinded the beers from me. They sit just off screen. I'm going to bring them on one at a time, nose them, taste them, rank them, and then also try and guess what beer it is. The difference this time will be that I will reveal to you, the viewer, what the beer is as I bring them onto the screen, and then we'll find out at the end of the ranking how I done. Right, bring on A. Starting with A. A, well, it's slightly lighter than I thought it would be. Nice little head on it. It's held up well. Yeah, there's malts in there. There's very sweet smelling malts. Let's get in and just taste it. Off the bat, I'm going to say that tastes very light. Very, very light. I would say there's slight bitter into it, but there's not much flavour. It's not offensive in any way. It's light. There's a bit of bitter in, but it just doesn't feel like it's got much body. For that reason, for the moment, I'm going to place this in 7th. Bearing in mind that I said it's quite light, for that reason, I've got two beers that are quite light here. I've got either the Stones at 3.7 or the Banks at 3.8. I can't remember having Stones before. I think I have in keg, but I know I've had this and I know it's very light tasting. So I'm going to guess that A is Banks. On to B. It's a darker colour than A is. It's also got less of a head, I would say. It's very thin on top. Oh, I recognise that nose from somewhere. I've had all of these before, but I think I will know this one. He said confidently, and then he tasted it. Again, there's a bit of sweetness to it, but mainly it's malty. There's not much bitter in. It's very, very low on the bitterness level. It's not, I'm not going to say light, but it feels a low body. So it's not a big hitter at all. Very malty. I find it perfectly fine as a beer. I find that perfectly fine. I'm going to put it right bang in the middle at number 5. The nose for me, I feel may have given away the brewery that made it. I could be totally wrong, but I feel that was Southwold by Adnams because of the yeast that they use. On to C, we have, again, it's darker than A, so I'm going to guess that this is not such a light beer on the ABV level. The head has retained and held. Oh, there's a bit of hop in that nose actually, or grassy. Yeah, there's a bit of grass, bit of hop. This one's going to be interesting. Let's taste it. Oh, wow. I'm unsure. Part of me likes it, part of me doesn't like it. I feel that the body isn't quite there either on this one, although it does have some hop added to it, and that's created quite a nice beer with the malt. Um, I think for the moment, I'm going to rank this just above the Adnams. I'm going to put this in fourth place. Because I said there was a slight hop nose and taste to it, I'm going to go with Hog's Back. Now, I believe they do add hops to their bitters. So, yeah, that's an educated guess, I would say. We're looking at D now. This one is, I would say, lighter than the previous two, but it's still darker than A. I'm using that as a sort of basis to help me judge on whether it's low or high ABV. I'm assuming the darker it is, the higher the ABV would be, but I could be totally wrong in that logic. It's got quite a clean white head, which does look like it was active and dropped back down again. It's very white, I should say, actually, on the head. Some of the other ones have a bit of colour to them. This is very white. Just sweet malts on the nose, not much given away. I know I've had this one before, but this feels very light and bland. I know that I said A was light and weak and bland, but this is very bland. There's a slight lemony flavour to it. It's, I said bland, clean. Yeah, flavour-wise, I don't think I'm enjoying that much at all. It's going to rank quite low for me. It's going to be number 9. And my guess for this one, it's light colour, so I don't think it's a high ABV, but it looks darker in colour than what I said A was, so I think it's going to be a 4%er roughly. And I also think it's not got much flavour to it. Yeah, shit. What am I going to choose? For my guess on this one, I'm going to choose Bombardier. Now, originally, I was going to say why I chose this was that I think this isn't a strong beer and it's quite a mass-produced, not much flavour taste. But to my surprise, I didn't realise it's 4.7% in bottle. It's making me question my decision, and it says there's hops in there as well. But for the moment, I'm going to stick with my original choice. I think D is Bombardier. Now E, clear difference. This has a darker colour head, a bit more tan to it, whereas D was very, very white. That's why I'm thinking it was mass produced by someone who's done it for the look and appeal, whereas this might be a smaller brewer that's made this. Also, it has a darker colour than both A and D. Let's get a nose. Well, unfortunately, the nose doesn't give off much at all. I think it's straight into the taste for this one. Oh yes, that's got a nice malty, bit of caramel and the malt flavour as well. Bit of bitterness on the back. Yeah, I like that. That is a good example of a bitter. I'm going to put that in second place. For what I think it is, I think it's one of the higher ABV ones. I think it's really nice. I'm not too sure what it is, as always, but I'm going to go for Jail by Dartmoor. At the halfway mark, and I've got first place and last place open still. This one is a dark colour for F. It has, again, a tan head that's very compact and held well together. Only a little bit has dropped down, I can see, from the actual settling period. Let's get a nose. Nose-wise, again, that smells very familiar, but now I'm wondering if this is Southwold. Oh dear. Right, into the taste. I think this is Southwold. I think I got it wrong. It's not A, it's this one. So much for saying it had a distinctive taste. Yeah, I think F here is Southwold. I'm not actually, again, too keen on the overall yeast flavour that's going with this. It's mainly the yeast that's created a flavour, not much on the malt or bittering. I am going to place this in 8th place. For A, no, that's quite strong. Yeah, Bath. No, that's quite strong. Therefore, for A, I think it may be Crew by Evans Evans. On to G here, we have a head that has dissipated but left lacing around the top. It's again not white, it's an off-white colour. Nose-wise, it's mainly sweet malt on the nose. Yep, it's a sweet malt nose. Let's get in for the taste. Ooh, this one is interesting. The flavour's okay. Again, I think there's a bit of hop to it, but I'm now starting to change my mind on what that could be. Right, I think this is better than A, but not as good as C. For that reason, I'm gonna move C into 3rd place. And I'm gonna put G into 4th place. And for G, I'm gonna guess, just because I think there may be some hops in it, I'm gonna guess that it's Titus. H, a very, very tight head that's left no lacing on the side at all, but it's kept itself very, very well. Nose-wise, malty, it's definitely malty. There might be a bit of hop in there, but very lightly hopped. Into the taste. Unfortunately, that tastes a bit metallic. And for that reason, I'm not too keen on it. And it also means that I'm going to guess it's the only can that's here. So I'm putting H in 10th. And I think it may be Stone's Bitter at 3.7%. Now, funnily, I is quite light, which I would have put, based on my original theory, as being a low ABV beer, but I've chucked the 2 low ABV beers out, which was Stones and Banks. So that theory's gone by the window. Again, it's a very, very tight one thing ahead. It has left a little bit of lacing as it's gone down. Nose-wise, it's a very, very light malt nose. Very, very light. Taste. Taste-wise, there's not much to it. Unfortunately, for the moment, it's going to fill the only spot remaining, which is 6th place. I'm gonna just randomly guess that it's Gem, but that probably will change. And that leaves me with my last beer, J, which potentially I'm saying is in 1st place and is Old Hooky. It's dark. It's got a very thin, tight, off-white head. Quite a bit of malt on the nose. Right, let's get into the flavour. Interesting. I think there's a bit of hop in there, but overall, I would say there's not really much flavour. It's quite light. I mean, there is flavour there, It just is very subtle, shall I say. I think I'm going to move 2 to 5 up one place and chuck this in the middle pack in 5th place. So that's the positions and my guesses at the end of the first run through. As always, I do a second run through. I'm just doing a quick time lapse of that run through and I'll tell you my thoughts about it. I'm not going to change any of my guesses. I'm going to leave my guesses as they are. I'm semi-confident on a few of them, other ones not confident at all, who knows. I'm only going to make one change though, which is B, that I've said is Evans. I've put in 4th place. And actually, I'm going to switch that and move it into 6th place and move 5 and 6 up 1. And that is now my final guesses and the final positions. Now it's time for the reveal. Eek. And here it is, moment of judgment. I'm going to find out how I've done. Starting with number 10 here. I've said I thought H was stones. And H actually is Gem by Bath Ales. Wow, okay. Definitely got that one wrong. There we go. 9th, I've said that D was Bombardier, and I've put it in 9th place. And D was Stones. Okay. All right. So 0 for 2, no surprise, but Stones is still near the bottom. So there we go. I did say that one was light. I remember saying that. And then I put Bombardier there saying it was 4.7. All right. In 8th place, I've said it's F. And I was quite certain with this one. I'd moved Southwold from elsewhere to here. Was I right with the Southwold yeast? Is F Southwold? It is. It is Adnams. Perfect. One right. I'm happy, as always, as long as I get 1 out of 10. In 7th place, I've said A is Banks. And A is Banks. Brilliant. So half right so far, 2 out of 4. I'll take that. I certainly will. In 6th place, we have B. And I've said B is Evans. B is an actual fact jail, which I've chucked down over there in 1st place. Right, I'm going to switch sides and carry on with the top 5 here. In 5th place, I've said that I is Gem, which we know isn't correct because I've placed Gem actually in 10th place down the bottom. So I, in 5th, is Titus. In 4th place, I've said it's J, which I've listed as Hook Norton. J is actually Hook Norton. I got 3 right. Oh, hey, old hooky. I'll take 3. In 3rd place, it's G. I've said G was Titus by Saltaire, which we know isn't right because it's over there in 5th. G is actually Hogsback. Oh, wow. I did say there was a bit of hop to it, but I went for this one to be Hogsback. Now, that means that I've only got 3 right overall. But the last 2 remaining are Bombardier and Evans. I've said 2nd place is Hogsback. Incorrect. C actually is Evans. That means that 1st place, E, is Bombardier. Well, let's rearrange this and take it all in. And there we are, the final lineup, 1 to 10. There are 2 major outliers for me. Number 1 being that I've given Bath Ales and their Gem 10th spot. It just wasn't for my liking. The other shocker is that number 1, I give them to Bombardier. But I stand by my judgment. Just to note, it's 4.7% in bottle. I do think it's lighter in cask, although it is hard to find in cask. It used to be much easier, but obviously they separate it out into Bombardier, Amber, and different variants. Number 2, Evans, and their, I can't pronounce properly, crew, I'm going to call it. Yep, it's malty. It's got a little bit of, I'd say, burnt malt at the end. It's really nice. It's good to see Hogsback coming in, number 3 there. Yep, they do really good beer. I like their style, well deserving of its spot. Then obviously we've got Hook Norton, old hooky here going in. Yeah, that's really nice. And then we've got what I would say is the newest comer out of probably all of these, but actually probably in line with Gem from Bath there. Saltaire's Titus. And that's really nice as well. I would say that's a very solid top 5. There is a big variety in the flavour, in the sense I said you've got a bit of burnt malt in here. This is just nice, easy and clean. This one, these two, I would say are hoppier. It's a nice variety of bitters. Down at the further end over there, it's interesting to see that probably the 3 cheapest ones, which is Stones, Southwold and Banks, with Banks being the cheapest, have actually come towards the end. Now, is price everything? No, but it's intriguing to see in my point. Now, Stones I could only buy in a 4-pack, whereas Banks Amber is obviously the cheapest. I think you can pick it up at most places, supermarkets. It'll be the cheapest beer and it's not included in any of the bundles. But yeah, let me know what you think down below about, well, how bad my guessing is. 3 out of 10. Looks like I've turned a corner and gone back the other way again with my guessing. And also whether you agree or disagree with the ones that have come into the top 5. Now, I know many may disagree with Bombardier, but 2 to 4, I do think it's a solid showing of quality beer. As always, it would be interesting if someone's able to not do it on this scale with 10. I don't recommend that at all, but if we're able to maybe grab 3 of them, of these, do it blind, and then rate and see what you think, that would be interesting to hear back from people on that. But it doesn't end there for me. I have one more bitter blind taste testing to do. I'll see you in that one. Take care, everyone.